impacting lives, building leaders all around the world. Let us keep our dreams alive, 'cause tomorrow's gonna be a better day.
Hello, bonjour, hola, marhaba, ni hao, privet, namaste, and assalamu alaikum. Welcome everyone to tonight's podcast, Voices of Palestine, Stories from the Homeland. And here I'm your host, Nabila Abbas. Tonight, we journey into the heart of Palestine, a land of ancient beauty, profound heritage, and undeniable resilience. With our esteemed guest Hamza, we will peel back the layers of history, culture, and the unyielding spirit of the Palestinian people, confronting the challenges they face today. Join us as we embark on this enlightening exploration where every story shared is a bridge to understanding and every silence broken is a step towards peace. Welcome, Hamza. I would like you to introduce yourself first.
Okay, hi, welcome Nabila. Thanks a lot for having me today. It's a great honor. My name is Hamza. I'm a 22 years old Palestinian. I'm a medical student, and my dream is to be an expedition doctor, inshallah. What I want to make is I really want to see Palestine free, and I really want to be a one who makes a great impact in that.
Cool. We are so glad to have you today. Let us start by laying the foundation. Can you give our listeners a brief overview of Palestine's history and its significance in the region?
Okay, so Palestine has always been a region of great significance due to its strategic location. It's the only land connecting Asia with Africa and Europe, and it has access to the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. This geographical advantage led to the proliferation of cities and villages, fostering trade and commerce. However, the same strategic position made it a target for the ambitions of various enemies and invaders throughout history. On one hand, Palestine is revered as a holy land, hosting Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, which are among the most sacred cities for Muslims worldwide. Where we believe that Prophet Muhammad came to and then went to the sky where Allah is. Jerusalem in particular holds immense importance as one of the holiest places, not only for Muslims but also for Christians, with landmarks such as the Church of Holy Sepulchre. Additionally, Bethlehem is home to the Church of Nativity, where they believe that Jesus was born there. The presence of these religious sites attract millions of pilgrims every year, enriching this region culturally and economically. This combination of historical importance, religious significance, and economic potential makes Palestine a truly unique and cherished part of the world.
Truly, Palestine's mix of deep history, sacred sites, and strategic location makes it unique. It is not just a place on a map, but a living story of faith, culture, and survival. With Hamza, let us discover how this rich past and vibrant present shape the spirit of the Palestinian people today. Hamza, I would like to ask you, what are some key events or moments in Palestinian history that have shaped its identity and informed the current geopolitical landscape?
So let's go back in time to 1970, when the Balfour Declaration was announced, which is a public statement issued by the British government in 1917 during the First World War, announcing its support for establishment of a national home for Jewish people in Palestine. After that, in 1920, a British mandate came to Palestine, which was aimed to facilitate the movement of Jews to Palestine, because after the Balfour Declaration, the Arab refused to make the Jews enter Palestine because of their intentions. So the British were buying land for the Jews. You can think of them as if Britain is the mother and the Jews were the spoiled kid. So they started killing and imprisoning anyone who's against them in Palestine until 1939, when the announcement of what's called the White Paper, which limited the immigration of Jews to Palestine of only 10 to 15,000 immigrants per year. Because they were in the middle of the World War II, so it was an attempt from the British to relieve the tension and problems in this area. And that's when the spoiled kids started to think, oh, my mom doesn't like me anymore. And they started seeing the British mandate as an obstacle in their way to take Palestine. That's when they started looking for another ally, and that was the US, which was the only country that didn't take much damage during the World War II. And after the US accepted, the Jews in Palestine started terrorism. And the irony is that the terrorism was against the British mandate, which was their mother. More than 500 terrorist attacks by the Jews was recorded in the last few years of the British mandate. And the funny thing is, I think his name was Menachem Begin. I don't know how to announce his name. He will be the future Prime Minister of Israel after the announcement of Israel. And he was a terrorist, and he was of the top wanted people by the British. And you didn't see the funny thing yet. The funny thing is he was awarded a Nobel Prize for Peace. You can see the irony, right? So, in 1948, after the British left Palestine because they no longer want to lose another soldier here, Israel announced itself as a country, and it was the fastest country to get recognition. The US agreed on it exactly after 11 minutes of its declaration, and that was the starting of Al-Nakba. When the Jews started to think that instead of buying lands, which was a very slow process, they could only own like 6% of the land of Palestine this way. So they started thinking, why not killing Palestinians and take their land? So at the end of Al-Nakba, they will take 78% of Palestinian lands and kill more than 15,000 Palestinians and force displace more than 750,000 Palestinians, which they are now almost 5 million outside Palestine. And then in 1976, Al-Nakba happened, where the rest of the land that Israel couldn't get, which is the West Bank that was under control of the Jordanian government, and Gaza, which was under Egyptian government, got taken by Israelis. So they took more land. They even took some lands from Jordan and Egypt, which they returned later in some agreements between the countries. And in 1939, a Palestinian government in the West Bank and Gaza got established with settlements for Israelis in the land, of course, which in 2005, Israel have withdrew its settlements from Gaza, but maintained control over borders leading to the blockade of Gaza. Of course, there is more and more details, but there is not enough time to speak about all of them.
Your explanation really puts into perspective the complex journey that has led to the current situation in Palestine. It is fascinating and heartbreaking at the same time to see how history's flow has impacted so many lives. And that is why the series of our podcast, the purpose of this podcast is to bring such young voices on the platform so that the unheard stories would be heard by the authentic people, by the authentic young people who are suffering and who have either witnessed or been hearing the history from their grandparents. I just wanted to ask, turning to the present, what are some of the most pressing issues facing Palestinians today? If you would like to shed some, current situation in the Palestine.
So let's imagine that if you're an Arab living in the land of Palestine, your life will be determined early on where you are, which is partitioned into three categories: the 48 Palestinians, West Bank Palestinians, and Palestinians of Gaza. So one by one, 48 Palestinians are 2 million Palestinians with Israeli citizenship. They alone constitute 20% of the country, but they are second-class citizens in Israel. The 1948 Palestinians get fewer years of education than their fellow Israeli citizens because the Arabic spoken by those 2 million Palestinians is not officially recognized. No matter how high of a rank they get at work, their monthly income stays less than the average Israeli citizen. If they decide, it doesn't matter, I'll focus only on my life and my family, unfortunately, they aren't allowed to request citizenship for their families living outside Israel, even if they decided to forget all about their origin and become a Jewish. According to Israeli law, they're not allowed to do that, or at least they will face many obstacles to make sure it's nearly impossible. A hard life, huh? Let me tell you that this is considered a luckier life than Palestinian in the West Bank. There are 2.7 million Palestinians living in the West Bank under the direct Israeli occupation, but they live in a prison-like structure with sectors of Watergate, and moving from a sector or a prison to another requires passing through numerous military checkpoints. On the street you live in, there could be tens of checkpoints, turning a 5-minute walk to an hours-long inspection. With all that, you're surrounded by more than 130 settlements, illegal, of course. These settlements are housed by 500,000 settlers between 2017 and 2021. The Israeli army gave 33 permits for the Palestinians to build houses, while on the other hand, the Israeli army demolished over 1,150 homes and gave illegal settlers 1,100 building permits. The Palestinians whose home is demolished with nowhere to go can't even put a tent without getting a permit from the Israeli army that they certainly doesn't get. Where do we go? We don't know. Figure it out. They're really tighten the tab on them. The truth is they didn't just tighten it metaphorically. They did it literally. Water, which is a basic right for any human, gets delivered to the settler with a capacity of 300 liters per day, while the Palestinians wait for water to fill his tank every 15 days from the Israeli government and companies. And his daily capacity doesn't exceed 80 liters per day, which is less than the 100 liters specified by the WHO. That's not a water shortage, but an intended discrimination in distribution between the Palestinian and Israeli. If you live in Gaza, your response would be, wait, you guys have water? In Gaza, 2 million people live on an area of 360 kilometers square. No barriers, no gate, as the entire strip is fully beside. It's not connected to the world by a port, an airport, or even a train. Nothing can get in or out without the permission of the Israeli army. Some sources say that the Israeli army controls the amount of calories that enter to the citizens inside the strip. They calculate the amount of food entering to the number of people for the calorie intake. Most of the strip's land is not suitable for farming. Its groundwater is polluted. 90% of it is not suitable for human consumption or even to grow food. 80% of the population's food depend on international aid. There's not even constant electricity to help you see the rich condition. Gaza's need for electricity is 560 megawatts, and it only receives no more than 200 megawatts. In an environment like this, the unemployment rate stands at 50%. Although children make up the majority of the population in Gaza, most of the strip schools were destroyed. Even though Israel doesn't militarily occupy Gaza, it turned it into a large open-air prison, whose key is only in the hands of Israel. And that was the situation before the war. After October 7th, the situation in Gaza became worse. Many struggle to find basic necessities like flour or bread. They start eating animal food just to survive. As of now, almost 31,000 people have been killed and 72,000 people have injured due to the Israeli bombing. In the West Bank, the number of checkpoints has increased. Most of the city entrance and exits are closed except for one, causing massive traffic jams. Many have been killed or beaten at these checkpoints, with over 7,000 new prisoners from the West Bank facing increased torture and denied access to family visits, legal assistance, and medical care. Numerous deaths have occurred in prisons since the beginning of the war. And for the 1948 Palestinians, speaking out or showing support for Palestine can result in losing their jobs or being expelled from college, and even putting them in prison, even for a simple Facebook post. The International Committee of the Red Cross considered the situation to be a complete violation of the Geneva Convention, which I recommend you to read about it. According to the Israeli academic Oren, I forgot what his last name was, but his name is Oren. Israel is an ethnocracy, a country that only serves Jews, a system that works for the Jewish majority with a goal to harm the Arab minority, a system to confirm its purity and identity. This won't happen without inflicting severe damage to others living with it. Israel is an apartheid state. These aren't my words, but those are the words of Noam Chomsky, a Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and the Israeli Minister of Education himself. Israel is an apartheid state.
I'm sure the more our audience is listening to you right now, the more they are getting statistics and information about the lives of people in Palestine, and the way you have recalculated the statistics about basic necessities, for example, water, food, electricity, and you have compared life of two sides like Israel and Palestine, and the discrimination in food as well. This is very, very important when we consider a basic humanity. Hamza, your words paint a picture of incredible hardship, one that reaches deep into the heart. It is heart-wrenching to hear about the pain and struggle endured by Palestinians every day. Thank you for sharing these truths with us. Let us take a moment to honor their resilience and spirit in the face of such adversity. Before we jump into our next question, while I was listing all these statistics and the consequences of raising their voices against Israel or for such situation, what is the normal life of a young person in Palestine? Like you yourself as a young person, how is your normal routine? What you would like to share with our audience?
My normal life is it's not considered normal outside Palestine, but it's normal here in Palestine. So once you get out of your house, first of all, you got to go through multiple checkpoints to get to your college, to get to your school, or just to get to the market. Once you get through those checkpoints, and hopefully you get through it, if you want to go outside the city that you're living in, if you have work in another city or anything, you have to go through multiple checkpoints, of course. There are checkpoints that connect the city, that connect two cities with each other, and they close the checkpoints at a specific time every day. But that specific time, we don't know it, so they know it. So they could be closing the checkpoints at the morning. They could be closing it in the afternoon. So this creates a huge traffic. So you could, the distance between two cities could be an hour, just 1 hour of in the car. So it turns into 6 hours and 7 hours. And they're just happy to see how Palestinian suffers. You could be killed, you could be killed anytime, any day, without any reason. An Israeli soldier can just shoot you and then put a knife next to you and then say, oh, he tried to kill me, so I had to shoot him. And no one can go after him or do anything to him. On the other side, if any Palestinian tried to do anything to any Israeli soldier, first of all, he will be killed or put in prison. His house will be demolished. His family will be put to, like most of his family will be put in prison. They're not allowed to travel outside Palestine anymore. They can't even enter Jerusalem. They can't visit Al-Aqsa Mosque. A lot of cities, you can't get, like normal Palestinian can get to Al-Aqsa Mosque, but they need a permit from the Israeli force, people who are more than 40 years and people who are less than 10 years can enter. Any young man like me, like from 10 years to 40 years, he can't get to Al-Aqsa Mosque and to Jerusalem, to Jaffa, Haifa, to any of these lands. So you would think that, Palestinians lucky, they have Al-Aqsa Mosque, they can visit it. Well, most Palestinians have never visited Al-Aqsa Mosque because they can't. And that's how normal our life is.
Yeah, I can totally understand and can agree upon this point that yes, normal is not a normal in Palestine. Rather, it is an occupied life. And of course, according to international law and international humanitarian law as well, it is not a normal life and how hard it is. I just had this question for you because everything is like Israel, like in Palestine happening right now. And the Palestinian people are the ones who are occupied and would not have this normal life. But still, is there any chance that how do you see the current dynamics between Israel and Palestine, and what are the prospects for peace and reconciliation? How, as a young person, you see this?
Well, I don't really see that there is any chance of peace between the Palestinians and Israel because let's think of the solution that anyone can think of. So let's start off the solution that why don't we just split the land for Palestinians and a land for Israel? Well, the Israelis themselves, they won't accept it because they want the whole land. And if you want to just live in peace, they won't accept it because for them, Palestine is the land of Jews and only Jews. They hate Palestinians so much. And for us, let's imagine that if I killed your parents and then I completed and killed your whole family and then demolished your house and told you, well, why are you angry? Why don't we just live peacefully? I don't think that you would agree to something like that. Palestinian has always been ours. We won't give up on our land. Our families have died because of this, and we won't really let their sacrifice go for nothing. And some of you might say that, oh, this is anti-Semitism, you hate Jews, you don't want Jews in your country. Well, it's actually the opposite. Before the occupation has started, almost 9% of the Palestinian population were Jews, and we were living happily. There are some streets that are the name of the Jews, like in the city I live in. There's a complete street that its name is the Jew Street, which means that they were living here. They were living between us. So it's not really that we don't like the Jews or something. It's more of it's an occupation. We don't want the occupation. And
Hamza, that is a powerful point you make, highlighting the deep wounds and the complexities of seeking peace amid such profound loss and injustice. It is crucial for us to remember the human stories and the pain behind this conflict to understand why simple solutions are not always possible. Your perspective offers invaluable insight into the resilience and steadfastness of the Palestinian people. I just, before jumping into the next question, because we are just discussing more about Israel injustice over the Palestinian people. I had this in the news, like most of the countries and states condemn this whole scenario in a statement where they say we condemn the war among Israel and Palestine and we stop this war. And I understand that most majority Palestinian people does not get over this term, that how they say it is a war, because they know it is not a war, it is a genocide happening in the world. So how we would like to make other people understand the difference between a war and genocide?
Okay, that's a good point to make. Well, if you want to talk about what's the meaning of a war, so the war is when two sides are having a fight together, and everyone is capable of having this fight, of having this war. Everyone has its own weapons, having its own, something to defend himself with. A genocide, which is what's happening in Gaza, is when they start bombing and shooting all the Palestinians in Gaza, which they don't have weapons, they have nothing to defend themselves with. Like a few days ago, they announced that some international aid will fall from the plane. So a lot of people in Gaza went to take the flour and the bread that was falling. And once they arrived, they saw the Israeli soldier, and they start shooting all the Palestinians, and many of them got killed. So imagine that if I'm a father to a family, and I just want to get some food for my family, and then my family is waiting for me, and their father never got back to them because he got killed bringing some food to his family. So that's a genocide. Like this father, he has no weapon, he has nothing to defend himself with. So you can't call this an equal war.
Yeah, this is what we really want to hear from you, the clear difference, and taking the advantage of this to this podcast. I would like you to tell people that what clear statement they should have while they are condemning this situation. One line you want to say to them?
Keep remembering Palestine. Don't ever say that what's happening in Palestine is what was the word?
Clear condemn the situation.
Okay, I remember. Don't ever say that what's happening in Palestine is a conflict. What's happening in Palestine is an occupation, and which is leading to a genocide of the Palestinians.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I'm sure our audience is listening, and they are just, hearing all these truths and facts with you today. Your perspective offers a unique window into life in Palestine. Can you share a personal experience or story that highlights the resilience of the community?
There are numerous stories of resilience in Palestinians. ranging from individuals who bravely stand torture in occupation prisons without even confirming their identities. So once you're into jail, they'll start asking you, what's your name, what's your age, what's something. There are some people who have not given their identities. They have never even said what's their name, even though they're tortured and whatever. You can find also the mothers who find strength in surrendering to the will of God after losing their sons, and even to fearless children who confront occupiers with unwavering courage. I recall a particular accident from my childhood when I was around 7 years old, I think. My family and I were sitting in our house yard when suddenly 4 Israeli soldiers approached us, shouting stuff in Hebrew. I've never understood what he was saying. And he started pointing, they started pointing their gun at us. Despite their screaming, I stood my ground and only told the soldier you either shoot me now or lower your weapon. And I started screaming that you never raise your voice at me again. This actually surprised my parents, and then even I was surprised of what I've done. And to this day, I'm really curious about what the soldier was shouting about.
Yeah, this is so brave of you and your family, and I'm sure like majority families in Palestine are facing these things every day in their life. And the young, the children, the old, male, female, like all of them are so brave, and they have shown such a strong resilience against all these things. We really appreciate this because we could never, step into your shoes, and that is why important to have me today. We have discussed like the rich history of Palestine and conflict between Israel and Palestine, the genocide, I would say. So I just on a very light note, I just wanted to know more about the culture of Palestine, like how beautiful culture and tradition it has, and what women usually wear, and how they celebrate their traditional or cultural events each year. How is it?
If we want to talk about the culture in Palestine, we're talking about the kufiya, the dabka, or handmade dresses, which are worn by both males and females, and which are really encourage you to search the internet for the kufiya, the dabka, and the Palestinian dresses. They're very beautiful, and you will like it. And we're talking about our special dishes like the hummus and the falafel, which is a great breakfast. If you ever came to Palestine, I'll invite you to one of those dishes. And all of our culture which all the occupation tried to steal, thinking that he could erase the Palestinian history and culture by doing that, which he can never do.
Oh, like stealing of the culture. This is very interesting point, because to our next segment, in which we have some few question answer from the audience engagement, we have collected a few questions from the audience who are curious to know about Palestine. I would like you, Hamza, to respond to things and share your thoughts and how you would like to clarify their concerns in a very general, informal way. Because you are just talking about stealing of some culture. We have our very just a first question by the audience. It says, in light of your insights on resilience, could you share how young Palestinians are contributing to the preservation of your culture and heritage amid just the ongoing conflict? And yeah, this is very important question.
Okay, let's first of all, as I said before, it's not a conflict. It's an occupation. It's a war. It's a genocide. Call it whatever you want, but don't ever call it a conflict. And about how young Palestinians are contributing we actually try to spread our culture and heritage on the world. So we have many students who study abroad outside Palestine, in Europe, in the US, in more of Arab countries, and you would know a Palestinian once you see it. You'll see him wearing the kufiya. Some of them wear the traditional Palestinian dress, and of course our special dishes. So they would take them with them and invite all of their friends to those dishes, and we try to spread it as we can, because as I told you, Israel tried to steal our culture, and they tried to spread it as they can, but as their culture. So we have to spread our culture to people and to let them know that no, it's our culture, it's not theirs.
Amazing. This is amazing. And my apologize on that conflict, because you are then to like the more information I received today, and I'm sure our audience as well. We are very much clear about it, like using such terms like war or conflict does not suit it, because like all these statistics and the information and injustice has clearly stated that it is an occupation and like further on going to genocide, which we really condemn it. Okay, coming back to the audience engagement question section, we have another question, like what aspects of Palestinian culture do you wish more people knew about?
Something about Palestinian culture is people here in Palestine, they're very kind, very, very, very kind. So you could be someone who comes from outside Palestine, and once a Palestinian sees you, he would quickly invite you to share lunch with him, even though that he knows nothing about you, and he just saw you. He would invite you to eat lunch with him. He would invite you to his home. He would introduce you to his family. People here are really, really, really kind. And there's another aspect of this, that there are poor people here in Palestine. Of course, there are the rich people and the poor people. So there's no poor person who sleeps hungry. We have something, I have no idea what's called in English, but it's like places where all people who can, they put their money, and they I started forgetting English. I'm sorry. Okay, they start doing food for the poor people, and give it to them. So, and this is like an everyday process. It's not like one time a month or 2 times a month. It's an everyday process. So even if you don't have money, even if you don't have anything, you would find someone who will let you live with him, who will let you eat with him. And this is how generous and kind people of Palestine are.
This is so amazing, and I can imagine that how grateful they are even in this adversity. I can remember one video circulating on internet. There was a woman, and her whole house was destroyed, and she just came out of the debris, and she was pointing out that I'm just left with these clothes I have on myself, and still I am thankful to God that I'm alive. And watching this video, I mean, like, wow, it has just enhanced our strength, our, iman. And I just would like you to tell the Palestinian people that, yes, there is a rest of the world who is watching such videos, and these videos are becoming a source of power for themselves as well. A whole lesson to learn resilience from you people. So you people are like a model lesson for all of us as well in this world. But again, it is very unfortunate that we are on a very less when it comes to help and aid and to properly condemn or to support you guys. But I wish to this podcast because a lot of people would listen you tonight, and it is like the real authentic sources through which we can spread the voice to the rest of the world. So I'm really grateful for that moment as well. I just wanted to jump on to the next question by our audience. How do Palestinians find joy and maintain hope in the midst of such adversity? Like, what are some of their escapes?
I think that's more of we're used to all of that. So once you're born, we face this crucial reality. So as I told you before, many of the Palestinians think that this is a normal life here. Like, it's normal to stand at checkpoints. It's normal to be killed every day. It's not like we have tried the really normal life, if you know what I mean. So most of it that we're used, and the other side is that we do believe in God, that whatever is happening, it's for a good reason. So even if someone close to us have died or got in prison or whatever, we would just say that, okay, it's probably for good. We do believe in God, and we just continue our lives because people who are killed, they're in a better place now, in Jannah, inshallah. And people who are in prison, they can they can use their empty time, like, if they're not beaten up.
Inshallah, truly said that. When it comes to like the art, music, artisans, musicians have always participated and contributed a very vital role in their campaigns and in spreading the message of love, peace. If you would like to highlight few of the artists, musicians from Palestine as well, and especially there's a song which is very, very famous. It is in every videos, like at the end it says Palestine. If you could tell us about that song as well.
About that song, there are many songs for Palestinians, including this one which says "أنا دمي فلسطيني" from Hamza Ghaith, I think. It's meaning in English, which my blood is Palestinian, and and the funny thing is that Israelis have tried to steal this song in their own language. If you hear it, you know that they are the same music, the same everything. They just change Palestinian to Israeli. So they're funny. If we want to talk about artists, I think Sulaiman Mansour is a great Palestinian artist. You should check his paintings.
That's great. Wonderful. Of course, our audience would also go on search about these recommendations you have given us. What can people around the world do to support Palestinians in their quest for justice and peace? What is your message?
To always talk about Palestine. Never forget that while you're happy with your family, there are some Palestinians who suffer, who don't have a house to live in, they don't have water, they don't have electricity, and some of them who don't have a family. So keep talking about them. If you can make some pressure on your government, then do it, so they might do something. And I think, yes, and to never believe the Israel propaganda on what you hear. Always, if you want to hear what's really happening in Palestine, you have to search for a Palestinian source. So Israel would just lie, like they bombed a hospital in Gaza, like a complete hospital. They bombed it. And then the reason that they bombed it, they say that, oh, there is Hamas in there, and there is no Hamas, no anything. They recorded a video where a soldier like searching in the basement, and then he sees a schedule with written in it in Arabic, like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and whatever. And then the soldier says, oh, look, these are Hamas soldier name. No, these are the day's names, you idiot. So you got always check the source that you hear the news from. I think that's it.
Yeah, this is very, very important that the fact checking and authentic source is like very much important when we want to discover more about Palestine and everything happening there. And we are very much clear in this podcast as well that like using such terms, conflict or war is very, very like injustice to the people of Palestine and their Muslims. I really adore this. Before I wrap up this segment for our audience, I just would like to again give you like 1 to 2 minutes if you would like to ponder over any facts, information you might have missed in this conversation, or anything you would like to say in the end of this segment from your side, and then I will wrap up.
Okay, I want to say something. I want to say that Gaza is suffering. It's really suffering. No matter what you see on the news about people who got killed, who got, whatever happened in Gaza, it's much, much, much worse than the news. So keep working for them.
Thank you very much. As we wrap up today's deeply moving conversation with Hamza, I am left reflecting on the resilience, hope, and steadfast spirit of the Palestinian people amidst unimaginable challenges. Hamza's insights have opened our eyes to the historical complexities, the everyday struggles, and the unwavering determination that defines life in Palestine. It is a reminder of the power of sharing stories to bridge understanding and foster empathy. Let us carry forward the lessons learned today with open hearts and minds, committed to advocating for peace and justice for all. Thank you, Hamza, and to all of our listeners for joining us on this life journey. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for your appreciation. It means a lot to me. I'm glad I could share the situation in Palestine with you and with all the listeners. Hoping that it will make a difference one day. May Palestine be free.
Yes, may Palestine be free. And thank you very much.
Thank you.